Then lads, welcome back to Cossy podcast. My name is Cossy. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in all parts of the world. Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to a brand new video. Now, everyone is talking about Arsenal's transfer window so far. Everyone is literally surprised by what Arsenal have done in the amount of money we spent, but also how early we've done our signings. With the likes of Rice already done, with the likes of Julian Timber already done, and Kai Havertz. It means that even if we don't sign any other player in this window, Arsenal are already sorted. So in this video, we're going to compare Arsenal's transfer window to each of our 6 rivals next season. And I didn't actually realize that we have 6 big teams that we have to rival with for the top 4, top 5, and then Europa League places. It's going to be very, very difficult for us to, win the league with all this quality. Tottenham, Newcastle, Man City, Liverpool, Chelsea, and Man United. It's going to be a hell of a ride. But in this video, we're going to dive into each and every club's transfer window so far, what they've done, and what they're about to accomplish, and compare it to Arsenal, and we will establish whether we are really leading the transfer race. Hit the like button, subscribe to the podcast as well. In the comment box, let me know, if apart from Arsenal, which other team has actually impressed you in terms of their transfer dealings, whether be that incomings or outgoings, doesn't really matter. Like Chelsea, their priority was to get players off the books. They've done that, and I think their transfer window is actually working very, very well. Right, let's start off with Man United. Man United, their big signing and their statement signing of the summer so far is Mason Mount from Chelsea, £55 million. And this is the 7th, actually this is the 9th of July. Now, I think Man United, out of 10, I will give them a 1 out of 10. They're they've been so poor. They're poor in terms of getting players out of the club. They need so many players to leave. I think they will make a lot of clearances in the future. There's so many players that Erik ten Hag has already said, I want them out of the side. And there's so many players that he has said he wants them in the squad. And their transfer action really is very, very low. Like, it lacks action. It lacks what you would call that enthusiasm. So I think Arsenal, as compared to Manchester United, we are much better in terms of the transfer window. I would rate ours at 6 out of 10 in terms of outgoings and incomings. 6 out of 10. Man United, 1 out of 10. They need like 2 midfielders. They need a centre forward. They need a right back. They need a left back. They need a new goalkeeper. I think Onana will sign very, very soon for them. But I don't think they have, at this point in time, with 1 month left to go to the start of the season, I don't think any Man United fan is contented with the business they've done, and I cannot give them anything higher than that. I think if they can sign Andre Onana, that lifts the mark to around 3 out of 10. And then they also need to get players like Harry Maguire out of the club, because to be honest, Maguire is a liability rather than an asset. So Man United, 1 out of 10. I don't think their business has been done quicker enough for a club with them, a new manager in Erik ten Hag. He wants to set his team quicker and early. I don't think they have allowed him to do that, and I don't think they've actually given him the benefit of the doubt as their new manager. Next one is Chelsea, and Chelsea have actually done a lot of work in this window in terms of outgoings. We all know, and we all knew the kind of problems they have with FFP. And I think the big question with Chelsea this season, and everyone was going to look at them in this summer, how do they deal with outgoings and how do they deal with incomings as well? Because their incomings will depend on outgoings. They've done such a fantastic job, Chelsea, when it comes to signing players off the books, like selling them, and then, just giving themselves ample time to bring in players. Now, I don't think their squad will need as many players as they have signed or as they have sold, actually, but they will need some key players in key areas. Like Moises Caicedo in midfield will be needed. I think they will need a good striker apart from Nicholas Jackson, and I think they will also need to sign either a centre back or at least 2. In my opinion, they could also need a goalkeeper. So in terms of outgoings, I will give them huge credit, Chelsea. Very, very huge credit, because the names they've had on their books are very hard to get rid of. These are players that some clubs might want, but many clubs actually do not want. So, so many clubs would rather sign anyone else apart from Ruben Loftus-Cheek. So many other clubs would sign anyone else apart from Christian Pulisic. But the fact that they have offloaded Pulisic, Loftus-Cheek, the likes of Aubameyang are leaving, the likes of Koulibaly have gone, Mendy, it shows you that they're focused and they're really serious about their business. So outgoings alone, that takes them to around 4 out of 6. Now, incomings, I kind of disagree with Chelsea here. Now, if you brought in a manager like Mauricio Pochettino, you want him to revolutionize your team. You want him to get a good season. You want him to provide something different. I thought they could have done their incomings earlier and then focus on the outgoings. Like to give Mauricio Pochettino ample time and enough time to deal with the new players he's going to play with, but also the new incomings as well. They've signed Nicholas Jackson and Christopher Nkunku. Nkunku is a very good signing because he solves the problem that they had last season, goals. Chelsea scored only 38 goals. Was it 38 or 33 goals in their 38 games in the Premier League? That is a record low for them, right? So they need goals, and that has been reflected in their transfer window, signing Nicholas Jackson as a striker and signing Christopher Nkunku as well. So with Chelsea, incomings, I don't think they've done anything to impress me. Not really anything to impress me. So Chelsea, 4.5 out of 10 so far. They need good midfielders. They need 2 midfielders. They need a centre back. They need a goalkeeper and a good goal scorer. So far, Chelsea as compared to Arsenal, I think we're still ahead. I'll give them a 4.5 out of 10, and I'll still give Arsenal a 6 out of 10. So in comparison, we are still winning against Chelsea. We are really, really ahead of Chelsea in this transfer window. Liverpool is the next club on my list, and Liverpool have actually done quite well. Liverpool signed the first player of the transfer of this transfer window. That was Alexis McAllister, and they actually did very well because they went for a player whose profile would actually excite every top manager in the Premier League. Arteta talked about him, City talked about him, and Man United talked about him, and Chelsea as well. And I tell you what, Alexis McAllister is the player that every Premier League side right now, every top 6 Premier League side is signing. You know, we are looking for that kind of profile. Mason Mount to Man United, same profile. Kai Havertz to Arsenal, same profile. Dominic Szoboszlai and McAllister, of course, to Liverpool, same profile. So we are looking for that profile. Ability on the ball, box to box, creative, and can score goals, right? So some kind of a deep lying playmaker, a deep lying creative player, and that is Alexis McAllister. And I think Liverpool have absolutely done very, very well here. But their biggest signing of the summer is this man, Dominic Szoboszlai, comes in at the club. He will be putting on shirt number 8. Liverpool's woes and cries have been in midfield. The deficiency has been in midfield. So they need to get around 3 good signings in that area. Up front, I think they're sorted. They will need a centre back. They will need a right back, in my opinion, as well. But I think if you look at Liverpool and what they need and where they are, I will give them a 5 out of 10 so far. Why? Because you want 2 midfielders, you've already signed, you want 3 midfielders, you've already signed 2 out of those 3. That is very positive. You want a centre back. I've not seen them linked with a centre back. Probably they're doing this one underground, but they will need a centre back. Like if they don't sign a centre back, their transfer window will be disastrous. A right back, I think they will need one as well. They will really need one as well. So, in terms of outgoings, I don't think they need to clear their squad. Roberto Firmino has gone. James Milner has gone. Those are some of the few cases where you would argue that Liverpool just needed to get these players off the wages so that they can sign new players. So, McAllister and Szoboszlai, those are 2 very good players that I think will be starting for Liverpool every single week. Those are 2 players that I think if you added one like Romeo Lavia or you added one like Aurelien Tchouameni, you would have a strong new midfield. Like definitely, they've done very good work. So 5 out of 10 for Liverpool. Compared to Arsenal, I don't think they have surpassed our window because we needed a midfield revamp. We've done that. And we needed someone to cover for Saliba. We've also done that. Our only problem is a cover for Martinelli and a cover for Gabriel Jesus. That like quality covers. Those are our problems. And if our problems are covers and your problems are players who should be coming in to start, then Arsenal is slightly ahead of Liverpool as well. So I'll give ourselves 1 out of 10 more than Liverpool. But I reckon Liverpool will sign a defensive midfielder and they will sign a centre-back. At the moment, we are still winning the window, still against Liverpool. Now, the next one is Manchester City. City are quite bizarre. Like, you know, their window is very, very awkward. They've signed Mateo Kovacic. They have also agreed personal terms with Josko Gvardiol from RB Leipzig. It is not what we expected. It is not what we thought Manchester City were going to do. Now, they lose Bernardo Silva this summer. They lose Ilkay Gundogan this summer. They lose Riyad Mahrez this summer as well. And they lose Aymeric Laporte. So with Laporte, they have brought in Josko Gvardiol. They bring in Josko Gvardiol. With Ilkay Gundogan, let's say, they replace him with Mateo Kovacic, but they lose out. They lose out on Declan Rice. I still think City needed 1 or 2 signings this summer, like one player on that forward line to replace Riyad Mahrez and Bernardo Silva, one player in midfield to replace Bernardo Silva still and Ilkay Gundogan, and that could have been Declan Rice. Going for Mateo Kovacic is such a very good deal financially, but such a big gamble as well. If it doesn't work out, you're screwed. You're purely screwed because Kovacic is set to be a starter for Manchester City in each and every game. Of course, there is the possibility of Phil Foden getting more game time, but I think 2 midfielders or 1 midfielder, 1 forward, and a centre back is good for Manchester City. So they've done they've done the midfield, they've done the defense with Josko Gvardiol on the cusp of joining. They just need 1 more signing on the front line. I think Manchester City have actually done better than Arsenal. Like, we are talking early July. They've already decided who is going to go. They already know who is going to go, and they've already done some incomings. Why they are better and why their transfer window is much better than ours is that they will not get this distraction of players leaving in this, like in the later part of the summer where the season has started. They already know the key players that are leaving. Gundogan out, Bernardo Silva out, Riyad Mahrez out, Aymeric Laporte out. Okay, incomings. Kovacic done, Josko Gvardiol on the cusp. They will need just 1 more. So I think they have done much better than Arsenal because in our in my defense, Arsenal have not done well in terms of outgoings. The question is the quality of Kovacic and the quality of whoever is going to replace Riyad Mahrez on that forward line. That is where it will depend. But in terms of getting the window done quicker, and in terms of sorting out their business early, I think Manchester City 7 out of 10, Arsenal 6 out of 10. Newcastle is one that I don't understand. Newcastle's window I don't really understand. When they signed Sandro Tonali, we all went wow, but then they just became quiet. They just became very silent. Of course, they're trying to sign Harvey Barnes. We've heard of the links to Theo Hernandez, but it seems like they're doing nothing in the window. They are too cautious. Now, I don't have a problem with the club being very cautious. My only problem is if you're going to fight with the big boys, you must act like one. You must act like a big boy. What Newcastle are doing here is they've gone very, very quiet, very silent, and they have told the manager, we will take our time to get these signings done. In terms of outgoings, I don't think they've done enough, right? I think they will need to let go of some players in order to replace them with quality. They need a lot of cover in those wide areas with Miguel Almiron and Alan Saint-Maximin not being the champions at this level that they have reached at Newcastle. I expect them to sign a winger on the left, a winger on the right, potentially a good striker. like potentially a world levels striker and 2 midfielders. Tonali is a very good signing. He's a wonderful player. But if they sign Harvey Barnes, that is much better. That makes their window at least much better. But for now, I don't even have anything to talk about their window, apart from Sandro Tonali, who is a guy who should be backed by another signing in midfield. 3 out of 10. You've gone to the big stage in the UEFA Champions League. You need to act like you're there. You need to act like you've reached there. Okay? So for me, it's a 3 out of 10 for Newcastle. And I know I'm being a little bit harsh because the way they're doing their business is progressive, not jumping onto big signings, but I think they will need to have to compromise on their transfer policy. Lastly, are the big boys, Spurs. Now, Spurs have signed James Madders. They've also brought in Italian goalkeeper Vicario Guglielmo. I think the best decision they've done as Spurs this summer is to bring in a mature manager, a manager who wants the job, and a manager who appreciates the opportunity of being a Spurs manager. That is Ange Postecoglou. I think that is the best decision. And I'm going to tell you one thing. I rate Spurs' window above Arsenal's. Because for me, for Spurs, the biggest problem they've had is 2. 1, you don't have a manager. Like, they've gone 3 straight seasons without a manager. You don't hire Mourinho and you think you're going to build something. You don't hire Antonio Conte and you build something. And this guy, Espirito Santo, he's like, I don't know, a waste of time. He was just occupying the role. So Ange Postecoglou, a manager that is very well known for his organizational skills, will actually bring back the culture and spirit of Tottenham Hotspur. I don't think Spurs are perennial winners. They are not perennial winners. And bringing in Conte and Mourinho, you're trying to drive a new identity, like inject a new identity into your DNA. I think it should slowly be built. The culture should slowly be built, and that's why I think Ange Postecoglou is such a very, very good signing this summer for them. But the other problem, creativity. You've lost Christian Eriksen. Like, when did they lose Eriksen? Was it 5 years ago? And these guys have not replaced him one single time. So, they needed a creative midfielder. They needed a goalkeeper because Hugo Lloris is a mess. Guglielmo Vicario, you know the way I don't rate goalkeepers. Like, I don't know if you guys have noticed on this show, I don't rate goalkeepers. Like, I've never gone, wow, if Arsenal sign a 90 million goalkeeper, we will win the league. I slightly think we can do better than Ramsdale. Like, you could do Alisson. Alisson levels is world class. But I think with Barcelona winning each and everything they did with Victor Valdez, the goalkeeper contributes much and very low. So you can win the league with Victor Valdez. You can win the Champions League with Victor Valdez, but you can also fail to win the league with David De Gea or with Manuel Neuer as well, okay? So for me, I'm going to say Spurs, 8 out of 10 so far. They need more signings. Like, they really need me. All they need now as Spurs, of course, keeping Harry Kane is going to be key, especially for my FPL. Keeping Son is going to be key, and they have already mentioned that he will stay, right? So keeping this squad together is going to be very, very key. Shipping off players that are not needed is also going to be very key, right? But I think with Spurs, they don't need to do a Chelsea. They just need like 2 or 3 more signings for squad depth, and everything will be all right. That is my assessment for for each and every club's window. And I'm going to tell you, if I was to rank the best windows so far, Manchester City comes at first, second Arsenal, Spurs third. Yes, Spurs, I've given them 8 out of 10 and Arsenal 6, but I think generally, when it comes to improving your squad, when it comes to preparedness for the new season, we are miles. We are miles ahead, and this window puts us miles ahead of Tottenham Hotspur. But Spurs, why I give them an 8 out of 10, they have gone and addressed areas where everyone sees it is actually rotting. I'll see you right in the next one, which could be our transfer roundup for this Sunday.